Yo everybody, Pete Peterson here with Dream Huge Realty. How you doing today? Folks, I get asked this all the time. Who pays the closing costs, okay? Who pays the closing costs in a real estate transaction? What does the seller pay? What does the buyer pay? Often you'll have this conversation when making an offer. Something along the lines of, I'm not paying any closing costs. They can pay all the closing costs. Well, that can be negotiated, but most typically what happens is a seller has their costs, a buyer has their typical costs. So I'm going to look at an average transaction here in Mansfield, Richland County, Ohio, with a $175,000 purchase price closing on September 1 of 2020, and really break down who pays what and how much, okay? So the seller is going to pay $1,361 in this instance for real estate taxes to the buyer as a credit, okay? And remember, all these things are taken together through the closing statement and will be paid through closing. You won't have to actually bring a check to scratch out a check for any of these things at the closing table. It's all on the document and it shakes out in the bottom line at the end of the closing document. So they are paying taxes to the buyer. Why? Because our taxes are always billed at the end of the year in Richland County. So at the end of 2020, the buyer will receive a tax bill for the entire year, okay? So, but they've only lived there from September 1 on, from when they closed. So, because of that, the sellers are going to give them a credit for that first portion of the year where they did not live there, and the buyer will go ahead and pay the bill in full because they received this credit at closing, okay? After that, you have sales commission, so $10,500 sales commission being paid to the real estate brokers, and that is 6% of that $175,000. Also, you have $75 for deed prep, $100 settlement fee, and $700 conveyance fee, and which is basically sales tax on the sale of your home. And how you figure that is 0.004 of that. So your purchase price times 0.004 gives you your conveyance fee. And these are what is most typical that the seller will pay and in the Mansfield Board Purchase Contract at least. Again, it always varies per contract, so know and read your contract, folks. Okay, what does the buyer pay? The buyer is going to pay $425 for appraisal, $1,423 for lender fees, okay? So if they do have a mortgage on the property, they're going to be paying some lender fees on that closing. And those can include origination fees, credit reports, fraud review, underwriting fees, any fees to do with the actual mortgage, okay? So they are up to $1,423 on that one. Also, if they do need to escrow the taxes and the insurance, and in this case they're prepaying for 6 months worth of real estate taxes, and they're prepaying for 1 year, $864 for their homeowners insurance, okay? Also, title insurance or homeowners policy as referred to sometimes. The title insurance is what is often negotiated. In this case, the buyer is paying that 100%. Most purchase contracts will offer buyer pay, seller pay, split 50-50, or declined. And in this case, the buyer is paying the title insurance that insures them against any blemishes that may appear on their title. And how you figure this number is your purchase price times 0.00575. That is how you come up with $975 for title insurance. Then you have title fees, which you see majority of the title fees land on the buyer's side. And those can include things like endorsements, courier's fee, bank wire fee, binder fees, settlement fees, their portion of the settlement fee, I should say, title exam, lender's title insurance, and closing protection if they so wish. So they're up to $835 for title fees. Then you've got recording fees, a recording of the mortgage and recording of the deed, $164 combined. And then they've got a location survey, $160. So you see how that all breaks down. Also, if any other invoices need to be paid out of closing, you'll see those included as well, or any inspections. And most typically, the buyer is going to pay for those inspections. Again, negotiable, but most typically if there are any inspections and they weren't paid ahead of time and they need to be paid out of closing, the buyer will pay those as well. So guys, hopefully that gives you a general idea of who pays for what on the closing cost, the seller, the buyer, and how it all shakes out, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Pete Peterson with Dream Huge Realty. And remember the rules. Work hard, never give up, and dream huge. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you.